So me growing up Amish was very different, and I'm going to just kind of go into a little bit of it and how I died and actually met Jesus. So I was adopted to the Amish when I was a little baby. I was about 8 years old. I lay on my back as a little Amish boy. My dad had a big pallet shop, and I was laid in the backwoods, and I looked all the way to heaven, and I seen the Father. Don't ask me how I know it was him. I just knew that I seen the Ancient of Days, and I knew that I came from God, and I would go back to God. It was probably 2 years after that, a neighbor guy older than me introduced me to some trash, abused me, and I actually thought I was going to die of AIDS. So because of that, I acted up a lot in school. I got kicked out of 3 schools as a kid. I have a 6th grade education. I was voted #1 to be in prison before I was 18. The only reason I share that is I never in a million years thought I would be up here. And at 14 was the last time my Amish dad tied me up and tried to horsewhip the devil out of me. So you can imagine I really hated God. I hated anything to do with the church. And I wanted to get as far away from that as possible. So at 18, from 14 to 18 was a blur. About 18, he threw me out. I spent a year on the street. Because when they kick you out of the culture I came out of, we had an outhouse. We had no electric. We were very strict. So they kick you out with no social, no nothing, because they want you to come back to the culture. So when he kicked me out, I spent about a year on the street eating out of dumpsters. And because of how I came up, I was painting, doing construction work. But then I got hooked on drugs. So when I see a person that's struggling with any kind of addiction, I see a person that is just trying to heal. God said to me one day, I was never mad at you on how you were trying to heal. So late 90s, watching the TV preacher, Give My Heart to Jesus. My dad said you have to be Amish to go to heaven. I said, I don't want to go to heaven. What my dad didn't know is twice I had OD'd from cocaine. One time I got sucked in the heart of the earth and a man made of light pulls me out. I really didn't care. I knew it was Jesus, but I tell everybody it wasn't the fear of hell that changed me. It was a revelation of his love. So you can't really scare people to heaven. I know it might work for a little bit, but it doesn't actually sustain you through intimacy. It's really the love of the Father. So after my dad said that, I went home and I was going to end my life. I was supposed to meet my real mom a couple days prior to that. I'd fill out a petition. If she did it, then we could have met. And she did. So I walked out of the back door of the courthouse. She walked in the front. Somehow we missed each other. She ended up ending her life in a mental hospital. So every time I thought something good was going to happen, it just got ripped away from me. So that day I go home, I grab a 12 gauge and I said, if the drugs didn't do it, this will. Right before I pulled the trigger, all I said was, Jesus, if you're real, you can have me. And no sooner did I say that, I thought lightning struck my house. This dark-skinned Jewish man from Nazareth, and he has holes in his wrists, comes walking into my living room. And I asked him later, I said, why didn't you use the door? Why did you come through the wall? He says, Dennis, I am the door. He said, wherever I am is the door. Anyways, he walks in, he says, you were my idea before you were man's. You were not a mistake in the backseat of a car. He did not speak from his lips. He spoke from his heart. He opens up his arms like double doors and I get sucked into him. And it was quite something. It was probably 4 to 6 hours. I don't remember how long it was. I just know that it was a world I have a very hard time explaining. He downloaded a lot of things into me that I'm still unpacking. But he takes me back and I tell everybody, this is just for the people in the back. This is kind of different than how I was explained how church is. But he takes me back and I watched him throw the stars and the planets out. He takes earth like a Christmas tree ornament, hangs it on nothing. Job says, where were you when I flung the universes out? And then he looks at me and he says, it's like you were on my refrigerator before I made the worlds. And Ephesians, it says, we were in him before the foundation of the world. Then he turns around, he says, look, he says, he said, I have one request. Check. That's okay. Hello. Check it. Okay. He said, I have one request. If you do this, you'll finish better than you think and you'll teach others. I'm like, what do I need to do? He said, you need to give me permission to love you. If you let me love you, I will love the dead thing out of you and you'll stop sweating flies. So I always tell everybody, flies are drawn to dead things the devil puts in you, no matter where your life is. It can be a vice, it can be anything. So most people spend their whole lives cutting back the fruit, but what the problem really is the root. It doesn't matter what your addiction is, most of that is fruit. So I said, all right, I'll do it. And probably 2 months after that, I had a dream. I've had many dreams. I've never asked God for a dream, but I've had dreams. I've met David, Enoch, all kinds of characters in the Bible. But in this dream, I was getting ready to step into heaven, and Jesus says, "Whoop, I can't let you in." I said, "Well, I have accepted you." He said, "We know, but you hate your father." I said, "I do. I don't know how to unhate him." He said, "We know." He said, "Dennis, if you speak it, I'll activate it." So I just kind of, without even really thinking about it in my dream, I said, "All right, I forgive you." I didn't really mean it, or even, I just said it. I woke up and I thought, that's a really weird dream. A couple of days go by and I go up to my Amish dad, and I grew up in a culture where if the patriarch of the home rides with you in a vehicle, basically the son, it's condoning your lifestyle. So it was very unheard of 30 years ago for anybody from the church I came out of to even think about doing that. So I go up to my dad and I said, "Would you like to go to IHOP with me for breakfast?" He says, "Sure, I'll go with you." I thought, wow, God must have fell off the throne, because it was so contradictory to how that system was. So I took him to IHOP, got him a big steak. He looks across the table and he says, "I met Jesus. Can you forgive me?" I said, wow. I went to the bathroom. I'll be very honest. Jesus told me one day, he said, "Dennis, my identity was my gift to the world. Do you know yours?" I said, "Not since you asked me like that." He said, "It's the authentic you." See, hell is more terrified of the authentic you. You can have all the knowledge about other people's revelation of God, but it's your revelation, it's your identity, and that's what hell is scared of. So I go to the bathroom and I said, "Lord, at least a day in hell would, feel better." I'm just very honest. He said, "Dennis, it wasn't his fault. I judge your motives, men judge your actions." I said, wow. I found out years later he used to get beat with chains. Anyways, the Lord said to me, "What I want to show you is when you forgave him, I walked up to our Father with your case file and we dismissed him from his darkness." He said, "Would you like to punish the devil for what he did to you?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Populate heaven with me and tell people how good I am." Oh, I just came alive over here. So it's that simple. In a dream I had years ago, I seen King David when he was probably 17 and 19. And he was just playing his music and he just looked so content. Jesus walks in and he says, "In 3 days, I'm going to let him kill Goliath. Would you like to know why?" I said, "Yes." He said, "It's because David lets me love him and he honors me with the gift I gave him." So my theology is simple. If you learn how to let God love you, he'll love all the hooks out of you. Most of the people don't understand is when you become born again, when you give your heart to Jesus, in the system that we have in most religious systems, church, is first grade, second grade, and we equate that to school. But when you're actually born again, you already have on the inside of you. You grow as you go. Most people sit and do very little because they're waiting to be qualified. The blood has qualified you as much as it's ever going to qualify you. So I tell everybody, when you become born again, when you give your heart to Jesus, just go and let the chips fall where they may. And basically, if you see God as 60% good, you will only let him love you 60%. So if I were the devil, I would portray God as a pretty bad guy so that you can't receive from the only person that can heal you. So I just wanted to share this today. If there's anybody in here that wants a closer walk with God, wants to learn how to let God love you, I want to pray with you, and we can pray with you over there at that tent. But I just want to open up an opportunity for anybody that has never given their heart to Jesus. I tell everybody this: the Jesus I met, you would love. He's nothing. I told him that day, I said, "You're not like they've made you out to be." He said, "I know." He said, "I'm misrepresented on the earth." And I really knew why the sinners ran after Jesus. I don't know if I've ever met a church person I wanted to chase down. I was always told, I was in a church years ago and they said, "You smell like cigarettes and you look like Rod Stewart." I used to have really long hair. And I just met the CEO of the universe. And that's how people view you, because they don't know. So I just want to tell everybody, it doesn't matter where you're at. What really matters is just keep your childlike faith and allow God to love the stuff out of you. It's really not that complicated. And my reason for sharing this, I'm a plumber. I go all over the world. I share this story. I'm like this everywhere I go, in people's homes, just everywhere. I do a lot of street evangelism. And my heart beats out here. I have a harder time in the system because I feel like everybody's trying to learn about God when God is actually with you on the inside and you're supposed to take him out and distribute him among the hurting. So I just want to share that. How much, wrap it up. So let's do this. Can you just play a little bit of music? We're just going to play a little bit of music. If anybody wants prayer, you can meet me over there at the tent, or you can even come up front. I'll lead you into a prayer if you want to accept the Lord. Love you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Love you. Time flies when you're having fun.
I know, right?
Yeah. Appreciate you, man. God bless you.